Hey everybody, how's it going? Time for that Q&A I promised, and I really need to come up with an intro for videos that aren't video essays. But anyway, before we get onto this, I really want to thank everyone for 2,000 subscribers. I never quite saw it coming, especially after a certain point, like the analytics was starting to go pretty bad, if you know what I mean, and also I had issues with other channels in the past, dealing with other people, and now that I'm on my own and am growing at a consistent rate really means the world to me, and I can't thank all of you enough. So you got Q's and I got A's. Let's do this thing. I've been wanting to do a Q&A since before I ever started YouTube. It's just such a fun concept to me. Anyway, let's go. First up, we got some questions from EdaTube. What albums would you recommend to someone who wanted to get into heavy metal? Now that really depends on where they're coming from. If they like some of the harder, like punk, hardcore, then you could try, first wave black metal. If you just like good pop hooks, then Dawkins, 80s Judas Priest, a lot of US power metal, kind of stuff where hooks are the focus. That's probably where I would put them, but I don't think there's any like universal thing. It really depends. The closest thing to a universal thing is probably like Defenders of the Faith or something. Another one from them, who are your favorite heavy metal vocalists? Rob Halford, King Diamond, Paul Di'Anno I feel is very underrated. Mike Patton if you want to count him, of course. Jazz Coleman from Killing Joke, if you count Killing Joke when they did their industrial metal stuff in the 90s and beyond. His voice is so powerful and frightening, I love it. And also Blackie Lawless and I guess Sebastian Bach. Next up, we got some questions from my good friend Drew, who you might know from the James and Friends episodes. How would you rank punk genres, proto, classic, hardcore, post, from least favorite to most favorite? You can even count beatdown if you want. I'm not going to do that. At the bottom, probably proto-punk, as much as I love the Stooges and the MC5 and Death and a bunch of other those kinds of bands. I don't know, it's just, it exists as a time capsule, basically, and when people try and bring back that sound, it usually just falls into the pitfalls of garage rock. There's not many places you can really go with it. I mean, hardcore, and then if you count a lot of the post-hardcore stuff, you got Rites of Spring, Minor Threat, The Germs, Black Flag, obviously a lot of the classic shit. I don't know, but again, it's just kind of limiting, as a lot of punk is. And then probably classic. Come on, Buzzcocks and everything, the Pistols, the Damned, the Clash, Ramones. And like all those bands, they had their own flair to it. They had their own kind of identity. They weren't all homogenized, which is something I really love. Like if you look back, the Stranglers and a bunch of those bands are really different. There's a lot of variation, which I love. I love a good bit of variation when a lot of bands, especially today, if they're in a genre, they stick to that mold. And then probably post-punk, I think, tied with classic. Just because, the soundscapes you can really get, it becomes really moody and dark. It kind of borders on goth rock, which I really love. I love darkness in my music, as you can probably tell from some of these posters in the back. Number 2, which band do you think is overpraised solely for their influence on a genre rather than their technical ability? That's an interesting question. I don't really think I have an answer for that. It really depends. I don't know, maybe the Clash to an extent? I don't know, I like the Clash, but I do think they're overrated. Red Hot Chili Peppers, I guess for the funk metal, I guess, and new metal? Maybe, I don't know. Maybe the Pistols to an extent, and again, I love the Pistols, but, I'm just being honest here. But I don't know, I think I have to think more about this question before I go more into it. Do you think the Distillers will ever release another album, especially with the Josh Homme drama going on as long as it has? Yeah, it's kind of weird. I remember when I put that video out, I assumed, yeah, they're probably going to put out another album soon. And then I uploaded that video 2 years ago. And yeah, they put out a double A side and that was it. I don't know, it's weird. I made that video prior to them even getting back together, and then I held off on releasing it. Those were just supposed to go out on Downfall, and I held off on releasing it just because they're probably going to release an album soon, but then they didn't, so I'm like, fuck it, so then I just uploaded it, I don't know if they're going to release another album. I assume, there's no reason not to, but I know we got Coral Fang from the fallout from Tim Armstrong and Brody Dahl, so, I don't know, I assume we'll see another album eventually, and it'll probably be in the Coral Fang wheelhouse in terms of lyrics. I don't know, I'm not as excited as I thought I would be for a new record. I wasn't too into the new songs they put out, but hopefully they can surprise me. Another question from Drew. Do you know how the 3 seashells work? Go home, you're drunk. From Destructor, thoughts on metalcore as a genre of music? Not my bag. I mean, I have nothing really against it, just don't really care for it. 3 questions from Moserfugger. Did you ever think about collaborating with other YouTubers? I discovered many of my favorite channels thanks to collaborations. Perhaps this could boost your viewership. You clearly deserve it. Well, I'm not against doing collaborations. I just don't really have any friends in the YouTube sphere. The closest thing I have is Drew, and he doesn't really make videos anymore. I'm not really friends with any YouTubers, so I don't know, it's kind of weird, and I wouldn't feel right just randomly messaging someone like, hey, let's collab, bro. I wouldn't mind collaborating with Killbot, but I don't think he would give me the time of day. I mean, there's nothing to gain from him if we collab, so I don't see why he would. Do you have music-related travel experiences? Traveling to another country to see a concert, etc.? If so, what are your most interesting experiences on those trips? I have not, though I wish I could. I would have loved to, like, just fly to America, see those Replacements reunion shows. I would have loved to have gone, but I'm broke, so I couldn't afford it, you know. I would love to one day, though. ABBA is coming back by doing concerts with digital avatars. I'm pretty excited for their new album, love the 2 songs they released, though I'm a little torn on the concert thing. What do you think about this concept in general? Yeah, it's a weird thing with ABBA, what they're doing, like, digital avatars and stuff. I don't know, it's weird. I'd rather them just do it as they are. I mean, they don't look decrepit. I mean, yeah, they're old, but if I was going to go see a concert, I'd rather it look like that. I'm not into the whole hologram shit. Like, they're doing a Ronnie James Dio hologram, or maybe they stopped, I don't know, but I'm not into it. And I'd rather they not, because it's just weird. It makes music a weird synthetic thing. You know, just stay home and watch a concert DVD if you want to see them as they were back in the day. From... Oh, dude, I'm sorry. I'm not even going to attempt that. What band do you think had the most potential to be the legendary level of popular, but never quite reached it for whatever reason? I don't know. There's a couple. I think the first one, the main one for me is probably Big Star. I mean, they're like the Beatles meets a lot of the alternative stuff that happened in the 90s. I really love those records, but due to issues with publishing and their labels, their records were just never pushed that much, which kind of sucks. I guess also the Ramones, I mean, they've come around in hindsight, but at the time, they never sold that many records. I mean, the debut only went gold like 3 years ago or something like that. Was a band from the 90s that kind of deserved a better shake than what they got. The Posies, I think Dear 23 is an amazing record. Like, look up the Posies Any Other Way, and that's an amazing song. Like, that should have been a huge hit. We got a couple from Soul Psycho. Did you hear about Dave Ellefson's band's debut album? I heard about it. I don't care. It's like the weakest link from Megadeth doing something. That on top of the shit he was found out to have done, which I'm not into, Jack. No thanks. Who would win in a solo battle on bass, Buckethead or Cliff Burton? I mean, Buckethead doesn't play bass, does he? So Cliff. From My Name is Dante. How long do your videos take to make, usually? It really depends. I mean, like the Senjutsu Iron Maiden, we recorded it in the same amount of time it takes you to listen to the record, so 90 minutes? And then a good couple of editing sessions to edit that down. I probably got it done within a few days. I don't log how long it takes me to do that kind of stuff. I mean, the X retrospective took me like a week to edit, though it took me like months on and off just writing the script, because I work on videos on and off. It's weird. I don't know, and it really depends. Like, especially like when the new albums come out, I try and get them done as quick as possible. I can usually get them done within like a week, but I try to do less of that nowadays, just because, and I hate contributing to the rat race of reviewing a new record when it comes out. It's just a little bit toxic. I don't like it. Like the Suicidal video, I started working on that in like 2018. And then I finished it around 2020. You know, it's a funny thing like that. But then again, I took like a whole year off in between making that, because at first I wasn't going to finish that video at all. And then when I came back to this channel, I decided to finish it anyway. So there you go. From Daniel Sales, what's your favorite Led Zeppelin song? I'm not the person to ask. Sorry. From Seth Kopish, Weezer versus Radiohead. Weezer all day. I'm not a huge Radiohead fan. It's just, a lot of it goes over my head. And I prefer Weezer as cringe as they can be at times, but I love their cringe, so oh well. We had a couple from Jack Hayes. What do you think of Sum 41? I'm a pretty big fan. I mean, I don't listen to them as much as I did when I was like 14. But you know, like, their music fits a good chunk of my adolescence. And I think Chuck is a really underrated record. It's like weird pop punk mixed with alternative metal, thrash, and stuff. It's a weird record, and I really love it. I go back and listen to it every once in a while. And, you know, In Too Deep is a banger, what else can I say? And what are your thoughts on the Motley Crue self-titled? Arguably the best Motley Crue record, though that's not really saying much, as ever since 1985 they've put out almost nothing but pure shit. But yeah, that's a really good record. I've been planning on making a video about it for a while, which, I don't know, I'll get to it eventually. But I do enjoy it. Favorite album that you like that nobody else does? Let's see, there's a couple. Probably Kiss's Psycho Circus. I can understand why people don't like it, but I think most of the songs are pretty good. It's by no means perfect, there's a lot of problems with it. But you know, you got songs like Journey of 100,000 Years, Within, the title track Psycho Circus. A lot of good stuff that I don't know, I'd say go into it with an open mind. And also Blink-182's Neighborhoods, the last album with Tom. I don't know, like Even If She Falls, Wishing Well, Ghost on the Dance Floor. There's a lot of good stuff on that record that people kind of just left on the wayside. But fortunately, I think ever since those new shitty albums came out, people have gone back to Neighborhoods and realized it's not a bad record, which I think is a good thing. From Felipe, what are your future plans about the channel? Greetings from Argentina. Greetings from my little corner of the internet. Future plans for the channel? I'm trying some new different sort of things. Like, you can kind of be able to tell with the James and Friends and stuff like that. I want to try and do more discussion-based videos. Like, I'm planning on doing one about greatest hits and best of compilations. And I'm good way part through that script, and I'm enjoying it. Maybe talk about more movies. Like, I'm making a video. May as well let it slip now. I'm working on a video for Halloween, which will be, I'm talking about the Lost Boys movies, which I think will be a lot of fun, mainly focusing on the terrible sequels. But yeah, I'm trying some new different sort of things, along with the same parts that I know people like album deep dives, some retro, stuff like that. But I think it's always a good thing to try new things, especially with this channel. Now we got one from Monstro, aka Michael, aka Stimpy Land. Now this is a real weird thing for me, because I used to watch this guy back in the day. And he went away from YouTube and he came back, I don't know, at some point a few years ago. And I joined his Discord and we talk every once in a while. It's cool. We go back and forth on Discord. And he likes my channel, which is really cool. Thanks, Michael. Congrats, I got a few questions. If you could will a new album into existence from one of your favorite defunct bands, which would it be? That's an interesting question. I mean, my favorite band of all time, The Replacements. I love that band. And they broke up in the early 90s. They came back for a couple of reunion shows like a few years ago, but they stopped right there. They're gonna make a reunion record, but that never panned out. And I would have loved to have seen what they've done, because besides that, they did a covers EP and they put out a few songs on a best of compilation, but they never released a full-length LP. I would have loved to see what they would have done as they matured. And also, I guess a new Depeche Mode record with Alan Wilder coming back. Because even though Depeche Mode are still a band, but Alan Wilder left in the mid-90s, and he's one of the best parts about that band. I would love for him to come back and make a new record, but that'll probably never happen. But a man can dream, can't he? What are some genres of music that you can't stand at all, no matter how hard you try? Let's say a lot of house, a lot of like uns techno. Like, I love some electronic music, but a lot of the techno stuff just rubs me the wrong way. Of course, a lot of stuff, like a lot of the popular shit now is boomerish, as it sounds to say, just isn't my bag. I mean, was it when there was the whole controversy about Cardi B's WAP? I tried to like it just to just to say I could, you know, because it pissed off so many conservative assholes, but I just couldn't, so there you go. What are some of your hardest retakes on an album or song or artist been? Like, you thought it sounded good at first and I think it's total trash, or vice versa? That's an interesting question. Bowling for Soup, I used to really like them for some reason. But, like, I still like some songs, but I think that's mainly just because it's tied into my adolescence and I can never really let that go. I'm sure there's some other songs I can't quite think of, but I think the biggest one is Bowling for Soup. That's pretty embarrassing, I must say. From David Ramone, would love to hear a review on Johnny Thunders and the Heartbreakers. I got something planned for them. Not a huge video, like, dedicated to them, but I got something planned to talk about bands and bands like them, so I got something in the pipeline. From Demetrios K. Congrats on 2K subs. My question, will you make a Cheap Trick or Nirvana review / retrospective? I'm not against it. I'm a person who says never say never, because you never know. I mean, like, I would love to talk about Cheap Trick one day. I just don't know how I would. I probably wouldn't do a retro just because they got so many albums and that would just take forever. I mean, the damned retrospective was like 11 albums and that was an hour, 10 minutes. For Cheap Trick, we have like almost 30. That'll be an undertaking, which I don't think I'll ever try. Sorry. A Nirvana review retro, I don't know. When it comes to when I make at least retrospectives, I try and do it, make them to be seen through the eyes of someone who has no idea about this band, or maybe just a little bit of a knowledge. And no one's like that with Nirvana. Either you like them or you don't. I mean, like, I've talked about Nirvana a little bit, but I don't know. Like I said, I'm not against it, I just don't see it happening. From Lourdes Mercado Ferrer, I'm so sorry, dude. How many instruments do you play? And if so, can you show the instruments you own? Cheers for the 2K subs. I play a little bit of everything. If you put something in front of me, I will play it. I might not be able to play it that well, but I could probably play it to make it sound halfway decent. My main thing's probably guitar, then bass. I could play a little bit of drums, though I'm pretty shit at drums, though I can do a simple 4/4 beat, but that's about it. If I try and do a fill, I fuck up the tempo. And I can sing halfway decently, though I need to really warm up my voice before I try and do that. As for the instruments, let's see, I have a Roland electronic drum kit in the garage. I would show it, but my garage is kind of a mess right now. But yeah, that's a really cool piece of kit that is really fun to play, though I guess drums aren't really for me. This is my first real guitar. Everyone has a guitar, then they have their first real guitar, you know what I mean? My first guitar was like a terrible Strat copy. This is my first guitar that was even halfway decent. It's an Epiphone G110 or something like that, not G400. I know that much because G400 is set neck and this is bolt on. As you can see, it's been modified quite a bit. I wanted a one pickup guitar, so I took out the neck pickup. It didn't sound that good anyway, so I took it out. Replaced the bridge with a company called Artist. Like, it's basically like an Artist bullbucker. It's basically like a copy of a Seymour Duncan JB. The controls only got one knob and output jack right there. Replaced the nut with a white Graphtec. And yeah, and I still need to do more work on it because right now I fucked up the soldering. So I need to go back and ground it properly, but I just haven't really done that. But yeah, as you can see, I sticker bombed it, put a Fender sticker on there because I'm just so fucking hilarious. But yeah, and I really love this thing. It plays really good. I mean, upper fret access is a bit of a bitch, but yeah, I'm glad to still own this thing because it's a lot of fun to play, and it's put many hours into this thing, and I don't think I could ever get rid of it. Next up is probably my main guitar, which is the PRS SE Standard 24. It's a good guitar, but I don't know, like, it's starting to give me a couple of problems, like pots are getting a little bit scratchy and doesn't hold tune all that well, though that's probably got more to do with me and how I set up my guitars. And yeah, it's got a split coil. It's also had a good bit of modifications. I blocked off the trim because I prefer stoptails because I like to change tunings a lot. Changed the tuners to Grovers and the nut to Graphtec as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a workhorse. If I'm gonna play guitar, it'll probably be this. Mainly just because, I can get a lot of good tones out of it. And I never felt the need to replace the pickup just because they sound good to me, so I have no reason to replace them. And here we have my number one bass, which is a Fender Player, Mexican made. I got it from a place called the Bass Center, which kind of takes basses and modifies them. We can buy them as they are. It came with a black pickguard and a DiMarzio DP120 pickup. Not sure if you can really see it. And I've always wanted a bass like this just because I love the Didi Ramone sort of things. And you can't find his signature model anywhere, so I always wanted to get a P bass and wanted it to be maple board, white body, black pickguard, because I think that's just the coolest looking thing. Yeah, I love this thing. It's does everything I need it to, and yeah, love this thing. Super nice. From Justin H Music, who are some of your biggest influences as a content creator? Oh boy, where to start? There's a good bit, especially when it comes to reviewing and stuff. The first one I have to thank is Ralph Vieira, because I remember trying to look for album reviews back in the day, and he was the only person who I could find that actually used snippets of actual songs. You know what I mean? And used actual copyright material, because everyone else was too fucking scared to. I'm not really big on his videos anymore. He's kind of stopped using copyrighted stuff, which I think is lame. I understand why, because it's like such a bitch to get it past the copyright bots, but if you know how to do it, you easily can, and I think it's just being lazy, not doing it. Then we have, of course, Razor Fist. I can't, as much as I hate the dude now, I can't deny he influenced me a lot with those old metal mythos and stuff. I mean, like, I basically ripped off his format for the retrospectives. But again, I don't really watch him much anymore, because he stopped, like, he makes maybe a metal mythos once every year, and I can't bear to watch him anymore. After all of his stupid political videos, I can't watch any of them. Just because, I don't know, like his little quips always get me, they always annoy me, but as much as I don't like the guy now, I have to give him props for what he did and, you know, how he influenced me, especially back in the day. I mean, fuck, if you watch that Alice Cooper video, I'm basically trying to be Razor Fist, and it's really embarrassing looking back. James Rolfe, of course. Todd in the Shadows is probably the most easily identifiable influence. I mean, Train Records, One Hit Wonder, Wonderland, you know, such good videos. Like, that's what I really, especially when I started doing more video essay type content, that's especially the main person I took influence from. And Scott the Woz, just because his videos are so rewatchable, the jokes are so good, he's so funny, and just his presentation skills are out of this world. And I guess Crash Thompson for his rise and fall of Weezer, even though I don't really watch his stuff anymore, but, you know, he had his day and everything, so he influenced me quite a bit. Especially back in the older days of this channel, you could really tell his influence. But yeah, I don't know, that's about everybody. From Bridges42, what would be your 5 Desert Island albums? Shy question, but happy to see you reach 2,000 subs. That's alright, man, don't worry about it. 5 Desert Island albums, though, let's see. I'll only pick one double album. That's probably Husker Du's and Arcade. Just because, you know, it's such it's a weird concept record, there's a lot of things going on. And I think it could be really something to focus on, a good thing to focus on. The Beatles' Pet Sounds, I mean, it's such a dense record. There's so much you could find in it if you listen to it over and over again. Like, the sound is magnificent. It's so lush and rich. Faith No More, Angel Dust, again, it's really dense. You could probably find a lot of stuff in it. Depeche Mode, Violator. I mean, like, the production is amazing. You could probably listen to it over and over again and notice something new each time. And The Damned's Machine Gun Etiquettes. That record's got all the adrenaline I need, so probably that one. From Jan F, what is your opinion on other rock/metal YouTubers? I don't know, it's a weird sort of thing. I think a lot of them are kind of cringe. I mean, the only one I think is that I really like is Killbot. I mean, he can be cringe at times, but it's a kind of charming sort of cringe, and he's kind of self-aware about it, which I enjoy. Because I think a lot of them are really lazy. I'm not into it, especially the ones who revolve their entire identity around metal. It's kind of lame, I think. I'm not trying to be a dick or whatever. I'm not naming any names, but a lot of them I don't like at all. Especially the conglomerates, fucking Loudwire, Metal Injection, fucking Banger, just terrible. Watch Mojo type shit trying to appeal to metalheads, which I think is real lame. Do yourself a favor, don't watch any of those. Don't watch Loudwire or Banger or any of that bullshit. Just the worst content in my opinion. It's like they're trying to be IGN or something, but for the metal community. Fuck that. Just fuck that. What do you think about the current state of rock music? Retro bands, less mainstream success? Rock is in a weird place right now. Like, Anthony Fantano made a video about it, like, years ago, and I agree with a lot of what he said. That basically, like, it'll always be around. Like, nothing is really dead if people are still making it, and there's plenty of people still making rock music, plenty of people still making good rock music. Bands like I recommend is Starcrawler, Skating Polly, Beach Slang is really good, even though they broke up recently, and the singer turned out to be a real asshole. But, you know, there's good stuff to be found if you know where to look. As for less mainstream success, in a way, I think it's maybe good, so there's less people following trends. On the other side, it's kind of bad, because there's not many ways for these bands to make money, which really sucks. As for the retro bands, I fucking hate it. Just do your own thing. If you take inspiration, that's fine, but when you're this blatant about who you're copying, I think it's really lame. Like, just do your own thing, dude. From McSponge, do you like the Downfall Network, and are you sad that he hasn't uploaded in 6 months? Ooh, boy, it's weird that some people don't know the connection between me, Brody/Downfall Network. I was friends with that guy back in 2016, 2015. I met Brody back when he had like 150 subs, and I was on the Downfall Network for quite a few years, like building it up and everything. If you look in the descriptions for a lot of those older videos, you see that I edited them or made the thumbnails and stuff like that. A lot of my early retrospectives were originally uploaded to Downfall, or were meant for Downfall. Alice Cooper was uploaded on Downfall for a while before he deleted a bunch of shit, but I left because I can't stand working with that dude, plain and simple. He's kind of an asshole. Like, was it me, Drew, Caleb, and Travis? We made a stream a few years ago kind of talking about a lot of the bad shit he's done, which is that's on Drew's channel if you want to go look it up. And oh boy, if you want to know why he hasn't uploaded recently, I was originally not going to talk about this because I didn't think it was really my place to say publicly. I'm just going to say content warning because there's a lot of gross shit to be talked about. And here's the thing, the reason I'm really talking about this now is because you asked, and he's recently threatened legal action against some of my friends just for like saying what he's done, which I think is really fucking lame. He's a complete piece of shit. Basically, here's the thing. He admitted to looking at child pornography, and he was caught sexually messaging and wanting to have sex with a girl who was 15 or 16, I can't quite remember. And she was a fan of his too, so it was a power imbalance thing there. And after he got caught up for that, he hasn't uploaded in 6 months. That's around the time he stopped uploading completely. So if you're wondering why, there you go. So, fuck him. Rest in piss. I hope he never fucking comes back. I hate to end it on a downer, but that's the way my questions were done. That's the way they were in, so that kind of sucks, and I'm sorry to end it on such a downer. I should have thought about that a bit harder. But anyway, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate and love all of you. You guys are the best. And we got more videos coming soon. Thank you very much, and take it easy, party people.